Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix. This is Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Spencer Hardenbergh. The handsome gentleman to my left is Braiden Bell, and on behalf of the entire Cronkite Sports Live team, we are very excited and honored to bring you all another year of ASU sports. Braiden, we're both making our debuts behind the desk. Hope you're ready to roll.
I'm very excited. Excitement, not a word you can use to describe Arizona State football, unfortunately.
Definitely not.
After their loss to San Diego State, a tough game Saturday, let's take you out to Sun Devil Stadium, where it was Frank Kush night, honoring the greatest head coach in the history of Arizona State's football program. Unfortunately for the Devils, Rashad Penny wanted to spoil that night, and he did early on, 95 yards right up the gut, untouched, as he jogged his way into the end zone, and he had a great night, over 300 all-purpose yards. Kid is a stud.
We're going to be seeing more of him.
Arizona State was able to respond, though, as the Sparky formation was effective as Kalen Balazs worked his way into the end zone and knotted the game up at 7. Second quarter now, it's Manny Wilkins to N'Keal Harry. 5 yards out, the beautiful back shoulder fade, making the score 17-14. Aztecs led by 6 at the half, though. And now second half, it's again Rashad Penny receiving touchdown, making it 27-14. It was all Aztecs in the second half until this average 3rd and 37. Manny Wilkins, Frank Darby. Oh my goodness. There's a touchdown for you, over the shoulder grab. Unfortunately for the Devils, that was the last offensive performance they could muster. They lose the game 30-20. After the game, our reporters Eliav Gabay and Chaz Frazier broke down ASU's performance and what the Devils need to do to fix their problems going forward.
Out here in Sun Devil Stadium, I'm Eliav Gabay. This is Chaz Frazier. ASU just lost 30-20 to go 1-1 on the season to the San Diego State Aztecs, who are now 2-0. Chaz, once again, the O-line could do nothing to help Manny Wilkins. 5 sacks on the night. What do they need to do to improve and help this man?
Yeah, it was a tough outing for the O-line protecting Manny Wilkins. But personally, Eliav, I think Manny Wilkins did all right. He threw for over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. You see the N'Keal Harry play. He was out of bounds. That was unfortunate. And then the bomb he threw to John Humphrey in the end zone, that he missed it at the end of the third quarter. So I think that Manny Wilkins played pretty well considering the circumstances of his O-line. But I want to flip the script a little bit. Let's take a deeper look at the running game. They were averaging 1.4 yards as a team, and they mustered up only 44 yards as a team. That's, unacceptable. Although Kalen Balazs was the main back along with Ralston, but they just couldn't get going, and I think that speaks to your point about the O-line. They just don't have any time. They're not creating any holes, and they're not giving time for the running backs to see the holes or Manny Wilkins to drop back in the pocket comfortably and see his receivers downfield.
Moving forward, Texas Tech on Saturday. Last year, they put on a show. Are we going to get a similar type of outing, or what do you think? Because we know they can go air raid once again.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one going forward, Eliav. After the performance we saw tonight, the Sun Devils are going to have to clean up a lot in practice, starting with that O-line, giving Manny Wilkins protections to drop back and throw, because he is showing that he's an improved passer and he can drop some bombs downfield, don't get me wrong. And then also creating holes, for Kalen Balazs, so he can run through those holes and create those big plays. And then on the defense, they need to come together as a unit, work on tackling in the open field to keep their offense off the field so long.
We'll see if Balazs should actually break the NCAA touchdown record on Saturday, but that game will be in Texas once again on Saturday at 5 p.m. From Sun Devil Stadium, I'm Eliav Gabay. That's Chaz Frazier. Back to you guys in the studio.
It's now time for one of my favorite segments of the show, Sun Devil Social Media. It's great to welcome in social media buff Ryan Redd. Ryan, what went down in social media this past week?
Well, Braiden, first of all, it's so great to be back here on Cronkite Sports Live for this year. Really, really looking forward to it. But this week in social media, let's get on to it. This first tweet coming to us from, is he a fan really? Josh Sanders saying, NAU football lost today. This was on Saturday. ASU football lost today, and U of A football lost today. But GCU football did not lose today. Well, Braiden, they didn't win either, did they?
Well, it's the old saying, if you don't have a program, you can't lose. And until men's basketball season, they're irrelevant in my eyes.
There you go. I mean, it's GCU. They got to capitalize on every opportunity they get. So I'll give that to them.
Have to agree. A great basketball program, though.
Great basketball program.
Might be able to beat ASU, and you never know.
Little brother syndrome, that's all it is.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, moving on now for this next tweet. We get a look at Sun Devil football from Sun Devil football. ASU players getting down and dirty before the game. I don't have moves like that. Do you guys?
Absolutely not.
You know, there's some great moves for pregame. I don't think they were jamming out in the postgame locker room after that that loss. No.
No, definitely not. A tough loss, but hey, at least they were dancing before the game, right?
They were having fun at one point in the game. That's good.
Good vibes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And now for this third tweet, we're going to take a look at a college football domination map. As you can see, ASU, San Diego State bordering each other. Looks like a chance for the 942 crew to poke a little fun at San Diego State before the game. They went ahead and tweeted at them saying, hey, we're coming for your land. Unfortunately, that did not work out too well for them, as San Diego State's student section of the show responded, 942 crew, please have first and last month's rent to us by Monday morning. Guys, what do you think?
That was
quite a roast.
Stings, huh?
That was
really
a
a roast.
great response.
Yeah.
Don't try to conquer Aztecs. It's not
can't.
that difficult.
You can't. They've proven it's impossible, and it was certainly not possible on Saturday night. Ryan, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the excellent tweets. Now we're going to send it on over to our WCSN men's tennis expert, Rob Werner, who's going to update us on the status of the men's tennis team. Rob, what do you got?
Thanks, guys. Well, Arizona State just welcomed back its 26th NCAA varsity sport, and that's the men's tennis team. The Sun Devils tennis team was the second oldest team at the school, trailing only football until the team was dropped because of budget cuts. This past year, though, the school got large donations from athletic director Ray Anderson and his wife Buffy, allowing the program to be reinstated. After collecting the needed money for the program, ASU needed to find the man that would be at the helm of the ship, and that man was Matt Hill. Hill, a three-time American Athletic Conference Coach of the Year, coached the University of South Florida for the past 4 years, leading them to a finish of number 17 rank last year, as well as 3 consecutive American Athletic Conference championships. This past Friday, the official first day back for ASU tennis, 3 Sun Devils competed in singles at the Claremont USGA Futures Classic at the Claremont Club in California. Freshman William Kirkham, sophomore Maki Rakoto Malala, and sophomore Tim Ruel all notched wins in the opening round, with Rakoto Malala and Ruel advancing to the third round before being knocked out. While the fall is tournament season, this ASU team is getting loose and ready for its first match of the season as the Sun Devils open up with the Blue Devils of Duke on January 13th at the Whiteman Tennis Center. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Struggling through last season at just 12-20, Arizona State volleyball will look to bounce back this season under new head coach Sanya Tomasevich. And the results, they've been pretty good so far. To get a full breakdown of the volleyball team, we now welcome in WCSN volleyball analyst Chris Gleason. Chris, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so they've won 7 of their first 9 games, a pretty good start for them. What have they been doing well so far?
Well, Braiden, first off, it's been leadership from their seniors. Aluma Okaro and Hallie Harker both led the offensive and defensive attacks, respectively, this past weekend. You'll see Okaro leading the way in kills, and Harker leading the way in digs. So the freshmen, Greer Hughes and Shelby Dobmeyer, have been big as well. Dobmeyer leading the Pac-12 in assists with 12%. And Hughes is 10th in the Pac-12, second among freshmen at 3.13%. So really, it's been a good combination of the seniors and the freshmen leading them off to this hot start so far.
And that's a great thing to see. But we saw this last year as well. The team started well in non-conference play, and then they got dominated in Pac-12 play once conference play hit. Do you think this year's team, the level of success, is it sustainable?
To be honest, Braiden, I don't think it is. The Pac-12 is just too tough of a volleyball conference. 4 teams in the top 15 this year. 6 are in the top 25. Even Washington State got 25 votes to be ranked in the rankings that came out today. All those teams are and will be better than ASU throughout the duration of the season. So really, they might win a few more games in the Pac-12 than they did last year just because of the new coaching regime, but I don't see it being a much better season.
All right, it's the final regular season tournament in Arlington, Texas, coming up this week. Give me a quick prediction.
Well, Braiden, they should be able to win all 3 games this weekend. The only tough test for them should be Houston Baptist, a team that's won 7 of their first 8 games. But Baptist's schedule has been even weaker than ASU's so far. So that might go to 5 sets, but the Sun Devils should prevail this weekend in Texas.
All right, thanks, Chris. You look at the schedule there. Lamar on the schedule as well. And for more on volleyball as we head throughout the season, head over to cronkitesports.com.
From the court over to the pitch, ASU's women's soccer season is in the midst of its non-conference schedule. After a bumpy 1-3-1 start, the Sun Devils bounced back yesterday with a home win over Florida Gulf Coast. Here to talk more about their season thus far is WCSN soccer analyst Andre Sims. Andre, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, as I mentioned, they've had a pretty bumpy start. What's been the biggest issue so far for the soccer team?
You got to look at the attacking third as to what's been going wrong. They haven't been super efficient in front of goal. The shots are there, yes, but the efficiency isn't. They're only scoring about 1 out of every 3 shots on target, and that's not really a percentage that you're going to want to roll with going into Pac-12 play. Their leading goal scorer, Gemma Perfield, only has 2 goals this season, and when you get into Pac-12 play, 2 goals is not really going to be the number that you want to see. And so they really have to get better at converting in the attacking third.
Yeah, your leading scorer having just 2 scores is not going to scare off many defenses, especially in the Pac-12. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, they did bounce back with a win over Florida Gulf Coast. Started up pretty slow in the first half, but really picked it up in that second half. What changed for them?
Yeah, I mentioned it again, it's the efficiency. You look at the first half numbers, and they were constantly playing defense. Florida Gulf Coast really had the attacking prowess in the early going, constantly in ASU's third, constantly sending balls into the box. So they really dominated that first half. And the numbers, ASU only had 3 shots on target in the first half, and then they upped that number to 9 in the second half. So the fact that they were pressing on offense, getting the ball up forward, it was a lot better flow, a lot more efficiency, and they were able to get 2 goals across in that second half.
It was definitely the tale of 2 halves yesterday, and now they have a few more games in non-conference before they move on to Pac-12 play. Who are you looking at to be a spark plug for this team?
Yeah, I've said it already. Her name, Gemma Perfield. She's a transfer from South Alabama, and when you hear the name South Alabama, that doesn't really hold a lot of weight, especially in the soccer world. Not exactly a powerhouse, but this girl is just that, a powerhouse. Some of the accolades that she's gotten in just her young career already. She was captain of the England national team at the U17 level, capped at the U19 level as well, came to South Alabama and won Conference Freshman of the Year, followed that up her sophomore season with Conference Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year. I've never heard that. Never heard a player win Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year. So for the Sun Devils to have that level of talent, she actually followed her head coach, Graham Winkworth, out here from South Alabama to Tempe. So that speaks a lot to their relationship and her talent as well.
Definitely does. When you have a star like that on your side, that's a good thing. That's a good weapon to have. You can check out all of Andre's content on cronkitesports.com. Andre, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
The Temps in Phoenix are still well over triple digits, but Arizona State hockey is ready to start their second full season in the Division I ranks. After an impressive campaign last season, the Devils look to build off of that as they bring in the 9th best recruiting class in the country. The newcomers will be a huge boost to go along with the roster that includes talented returnees like Anthony Croston and Dylan Hallman. The Devils will return to the ice on September 30th when they face off against Northern Alberta Institute of Technology.
Now on to one of our favorite segments, The Way It Is, The Way It Works. I ask you a few questions, you ask me a few questions, we answer them, and our producers in the studio will pick a winner.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. So I'm gonna hit you with one to start out.
Right.
Manny Wilkins, he's got nearly 300 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Definitely much improved from his stats last year. Are you buying or selling the Manny Wilkins hype train?
I'm buying it, but with a dash of salt, because he's very good. He's done very well when he's had time in the pocket, but unfortunately he very rarely has that time. The offensive line has struggled immensely so far. So I think if Wilkins can somehow buy some time, get out of the pocket, he will continue to succeed, but if not, look for some turnovers to start piling up as the games go on. All right, Spencer, we're going to stay with football. ASU only 123 rushing yards in 2 full games. So my question to you is, should they ditch the run entirely against Texas Tech?
Well, you kind of helped answer my question there with the offensive line, because they're really struggling, really not giving Manny Wilkins time, so you can't depend fully on the pass here. And last time, I'm going to go into the archives here, last time Texas Tech played ASU, a guy named Kalen Balaj had an NCAA record, 8 touchdowns, 7 of those rushing. So I don't think that they can give up the rushing attack. And now I'm going to throw one back to you, more football. After giving up nearly 400 yards of passing in week 1, the secondary did bounce back, allowed just 73 yards through the air, but the defense gave up almost 300 yards of rushing. So what is their biggest concern right now? Is it rush or pass defense?
I'm going to go with C, all of the above.
I agree with that
it's a rough time to be a defender at Arizona State. The lack of depth has really been voided so far against these 2 non-conference opponents. It's only going to get worse from here when you're taking on teams like Oregon or even Texas Tech this week. When you're not able to substitute out players, it's going to make it very difficult. All right, Spencer, enough with football. We'll talk some hockey. A loaded schedule this year for Arizona State hockey. What should the expectations look like for such a young program?
Well, they're in a very interesting position right now because they're only in their 2nd year, but they have the number 9 recruiting class in the nation, which is very impressive for a 2nd-year D1 team. So I think their key this year will be they're not going to be winning any national championships anytime soon. I think the key this year is really not focusing on the losses and really focusing on individual and improvement as a team as a whole. And now we're going to go on over the court. Volleyball is off to a pretty good start, but still has a very long way to go as Pac-12 play kicks off on September 21st. Who could be a star if they want to improve on their 5-15 record in the Pac-12 from last year?
So I'm going to kind of go off of your question. I don't think this team has anyone that can really win conference games just by themselves. It's going to have to be a team by committee, someone stepping up each and every game, a different name, if you will. So I think it's going to be tough, like we talked about for this volleyball team this year. The Pac-12 is just so good, but it's going to have to be a full team effort for them to have any success. All right, and then we're going to go off the court, go to the golf course. Let's do it. Coach Matt Thurmond starts his second year as the Arizona State men's golf team, a very, very young team. So who do you expect to kind of stand out?
I mean, you said it, very young team. They have 3 upperclassmen on this team. I'm looking at Gino Sohn because he had a very good summer. He won the Southwestern Amateur Tournament, which is a very good tournament field as far as amateur goes. And he can be a guy that can lead Mason Anderson, Paul Chaplett, freshmen like that as a junior, but also contribute on the course. So I'm gonna look at him to be a key player.
All right, now we await the decision. It's a tough one. I thought we both did pretty good.
I thought it was pretty even. Let's see what they think.
Let's see what we got. Come on. Oh, yes. Look at that picture, too.
I was hoping to see my baby picture.
That's beautiful.
All right.
Those of you at home. All right. Saturday night was yet another step in the wrong direction for Arizona State's football program. The loss to San Diego State was one that not only hurt this year's team, but also the proud history of this program. The 10-point loss had a lot to do with that, but even more damaging things occurred after the stadium was empty. I'm talking about the harsh reactions from so-called fans on Twitter after the game. These tweets directed at student athletes got so bad that the Arizona State football Twitter account had to step in and say that they're in their tweet that the direct, degrading, and insulting comments at their account instead of the players. First off, this is a disgraceful look for the fan base. Sure, emotions run high during the course of a football game, but typing out your anger and sending it to an amateur athlete over Twitter is shameful. The second part of this, that some fans obviously don't realize, is how bad this looks to recruits considering Arizona State. Imagine being a recruit and seeing a tweet like that being sent out from the football account. Immediately, a flood of bad thoughts about ASU as a whole would most likely enter your mind. These insulting tweets don't just hurt the current state of Sun Devil football, they also affect the future, and that's the way it is.
All right, top plays, number 3. Manny Wilkins drops back in the pocket, throws one up. N'Keal Harry, give me that. Touchdown in the corner of the end zone for Harry.
We've talked so much football. Let's talk some soccer. Christina Edwards, first career goal on a corner kick from Gemma Pearfield. It's beautiful. Down in Tucson, the only thing beautiful there. Nice goal.
And the number 1 play of the week, 3rd and 37. Manny Wilkins scrambles in the pocket, throws up a prayer to Frank Darby, and Darby, a grown man's move, getting that cornerback off him to score the touchdown. That was the number 1 play of this week.
All right, so first game jitters are always kind of a thing. I thought we did decent.
Yeah,
I mean, there were some bumps, definite bumps, but overall, a decent job.
Nothing that can't be smoothed out, right? That's what it's all about. All right, and thank you guys very much for watching. This has been Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Spencer Hardenbergh. That is Braiden Bell. On behalf of our entire team, we'll see you next week where Eliav Gabai and Chaz Frazier will be the anchors. Thank you, guys.